I'm gonna say this, and it's the truth, but it hurts, but it's the truth. Abortion is terminating a pregnancy.
Okay.
Period. And a lot of people don't like that term. However, when you say you're pro-life, or let me make sure I say this right. When you tell a woman she should not have an abortion, this person is saying they are unable to, for whatever reason, whether it's medical, whether it's a personal choice, whatever the reason is, this is an unwanted living being. But we don't have systems in place to help children who don't have a stable home. So it's a systemic problem when you have children born into households that they can't provide for them. And Karen, you're a guardian litem. You deal with children all the time
Mhm.
who are in situations that are not their fault. They're kids. So
Yeah.
let's make sure we have programs that actually work for those children that goes into foster care or other type of facilities that are supposed to help them. And this is no shade on the great work, because please keep in mind there are wonderful people doing the good work every single day, taking care of children who do not have families to take care of them. And I love those people. Big ups to y'all. Chime in. But that's important. So that's important to me, that piece. And so I'll leave it there and pass the torch over to you, Karen.
So I hear you that you didn't hear enough, that you felt like you didn't hear enough about policy.
Mm-hmm.
I heard more. She was the only one on that debate stage talking about policy. I thought.
Oh, well.
Mm.
I thought because I wanted to hear if he had some ideas, and he did not have any ideas. The one part that I did say that was disappointing to me was that she did not. She talked about her support for Israel, but I wanted to hear that it was that she definitely was not going to let this continue as far as this genocide in Palestine. And
Mm-hmm.
so, while Israel has a right to exist, Palestine also has a right to exist.
Facts.
And I think the only way we could do um, that we can ensure that these lives are protected, is for the US to say we are no longer going to provide arms to Israel to do what they're doing, because we control the purse strings to Israel. And if the US doesn't say, okay, this is enough, if you continue to do this, we're not going to provide you any more funding, and we're not going to provide you with arms. And I
Right.
we have enough political capital and financial capital that the US can say that. And that's my opinion. And
Mm-hmm.
so the problem with that is when you say these things, um, by supporting or saying that you don't want to see Palestinians be killed, and I don't want to see Israelis be killed either.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see both be able to coexist, and for there to be definite boundaries of where Israel can reside and where Palestinians can reside, and they can coexist within that land. However, when you start saying those things, some label you as anti-Semitic, when I can be against the policies of Israel and still believe that Israel has a right to exist, but also want
Mm-hmm.
Palestinian lives to be protected. And I think that's where the conversation gets diluted, you know,
Facts.
you know.
Facts. You right.
So
You right.
Kiara, on your college, because you are a college student,
Yep.
um, and oh, we forgot to introduce you, Kiara Curtis, college, Kiara C, college student. Um, are you are your peers talking about, like, is Palestine? Because I know a lot of students were protesting. Is it a big thing? Like, are students really concerned about Palestine?
Yeah, a lot because because GGC is like pretty diverse, and
Mm-hmm.
so people from everywhere goes to the school, and so there's people that are from Palestine or have like ancestors that are from Palestine, and then same thing with Israel. So it's just weird a little
Mhm.
bit because you can like kind of see like that clash
Yeah.
sometimes. But there are people that are against like the war as a whole and
Mm-hmm.
have been doing like small protests between like stop eating at McDonald's or any place that supports Israel or anyone that supports Israel in regards of celebrities. And some much bigger as of like actually going out to protest and get your word in as a whole.
Okay.
Mm.
So yeah, there's something else that happened this week. Let me see if I can share my screen with y'all to talk about this Republican senator from, I believe he sits on the Senate Judiciary Committee, John Kennedy. There was uh, a discussion where they were supposed to be asking them about some funding.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and this is what
Mm.
happened.
This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman with Nermeen Sheikh.
As rights groups warn, dehumanizing rhetoric around Israel's U.S.-backed war on Gaza has put the lives of Muslims and Arabs in the U.S. at risk. We look now at a Senate Judiciary Committee hearing Tuesday on the tide of hate crimes in America. Committee Chair, Democratic Senator Dick Durbin of Illinois, called the hearing. His constituent, Hanan Shaheen, sat in the front row. Her 6-year-old son, Wadie Al-Fayoum, was stabbed to death in an anti-Muslim hate crime by her landlord in a Chicago suburb in October. Shaheen herself was also stabbed at least 12 times. Durbin has introduced a resolution honoring Wadie, along with Illinois Congresswoman Delia Ramirez, who will join us in a minute to discuss growing support for the Wadie Act. We'll also be joined by the Arab American witness at Tuesday's hearing, who faced hostile questions from Republicans, Maya Berry, Executive Director of the Arab American Institute. But first, let's go to Republican Senator John Kennedy questioning Berry.
You support Hamas, do you not?
Senator, oddly enough, I'm going to say thank you for that question because it demonstrates the purpose of our hearing today in a very effective way.
Let's start first with a yes or no.
Hamas is a foreign terrorist organization that I do not support, but you asking the executive director of the Arab American Institute that question very much puts the focus on the issue of hate in our country.
Well, I got your answer, and I appreciate it. What is the you support Hezbollah too, don't you?
Again, I find this line of questioning extraordinarily disappointing, Senator.
No?
That you have Arab American constituents that you represent in your great state.
Yes, ma'am, I understand that, but my time's limited, and I apologize. But is that a yes or a no?
Yes or no question to do I support Hezbollah? The answer is I don't support violence, whether it's Hezbollah, Hamas, or any other entity that invokes it.
You can't
so
bring
no,
yourself to say no, can you?
No, I can say no. I can say yes.
But
what I can say is
you just
your
can't
line
make
of
yourself
questioning.
do it. Do you
Senator,
support or oppose Iran and their hatred of Jews?
Again, I'm going to emphasize Iran, Hezbollah, Hamas, none of them is going to
You can't bring yourself to say no,
Sir,
can you?
I don't support.
It's real simple.
Excuse me. I'm going to, if I may, as a Muslim woman, sir, I'm going to tell you I do not support Iran. But what I will tell you is that this conversation.
I'm running out of time. I'm sorry. You called our decision to cut funding. You called our decision to cut fund. Well, first, what's the United Nations Relief and Works Agency?
It's UNRWA, which is the institution that exists to provide services and aid to the nearly 6 million Palestinian refugees.
And you called our decision to cut funding for them, quote, an incredible moral failure, close quote.
That is absolutely correct. But again, I would suggest that conversation
And
is about foreign
we
policy.
did that because 9 UNRWA staff members were fired for actually helping Hamas on October 7th. Isn't that the case?
I don't believe that that's correct in terms
Let me
of.
ask you one more time. You support Hamas, don't you? You
Sir.
support UNRWA and Hamas, don't you?
Sir,
Please.
I think it's exceptionally disappointing that you're looking at an Arab American witness before you and saying you support Hamas.
You know what's disappointing to me?
I do not
You
support
can't
Hamas.
bring yourself
I do
to
not
say
support Hamas
You don't
or
support UNRWA. You don't support Hamas. You don't.
I was very
support
clear in my support for
Hezbollah,
UNRWA.
and you don't
I
support Iran.
oppose-
You should hide your head in a bag.
Wow.
So he
That is
said-
bizarre.
He says to an Arab American leader,
Mhm.
you should hide your head in a bag.
That is horrible.
She
This
has
dude has-
she has no affiliations with Hamas. She is the executive director of the Arab American Institute.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If that wasn't racist, but I'm gonna let y'all talk about it.
And you know, let me say this: it's hate. It's you have a sense of hate in your heart, and I'm gonna let Timothy. Thanks for joining, Tim Sullivan.
Thank you for having me.
I appreciate you hopping on. You saw the clip. How do you feel about the comments that you heard?
Racist or not, that is big. That is still bigotry right there.
Mm.
That is
Yeah.
like she was making it clear that she does not support Hamas. I don't know why he kept going on with that and just kept saying, and then ended with, "You should have your head in a bag."
You should hide
that
your
is-
head in a bag.
That's
We tell our
That's-
children every day when they go to school, right, about bullies.
Mhm.
This is a bully. This Senator Kennedy, is a bully. And when I saw this, I was floored. I was aghast. I was like, really? This is what we're doing? This is
And
what
this-
our senators are doing?
It also speaks to, sis, a person, how we talk to women. Like I was enraged just at hearing another human being be disrespectful to a woman. Where do we get off in this world where women do not receive respect? It's unacceptable.
It
And for
really
you to
is.
tell her to put her head
In
in
a
a
bag.
bag because she has a brain and opinion. Come on, yo. We can't have that. We cannot continue to allow people to we can have healthy conversations. That's what we do on Conversations with Karen and Kat. We have healthy conversations, whether you agree or disagree. It's still a necessary conversation.
Yes.
The truth may hurt, but it doesn't make it any less of the truth.
And Ashley Sanders, I'm sorry, go ahead, Kat.
Yeah, no, and you can say the truth without being rude. That's all I want to
Absolutely. And so one of our listeners, Ashley Sanders, says, this is not just a normal election for the GOP. It means everything to us. Because if Trump loses, he's going to be held accountable and put on trial for trying to illegally overturn an election.
Wow.
That's an excellent point. I've heard that before.
Mhm.
How do some of you feel about that? Do you think that, because I've heard it said that Trump is only running to stay out of jail. Has anyone else heard that or have any thoughts about it?
Well, I don't think that's the only reason he's running. I feel like the main reason he's running is that he's a wannabe dictator. I know that's a bizarre statement, but
It's not.
From everything he's said recently, it's kind of the truth. And especially since he sent his minions to attack the Capitol, his supporters, I should say. I guess minions is a wild thing to say there, but but yeah, that's he's basically just a wannabe king. That's
yeah.
Yeah.
And so Mr. Sullivan, tell us about, are you currently a college student? You're post-college?
Yes, I'm currently a senior in college, and
Okay.
right now I'm working on getting a paralegal certificate as well. So,
Oh.
yeah, most like short-term goals, like thinking about going to law school, but it's between Georgia State or UGA.
Okay.
And long-term goals, working in international politics, so possibly becoming an ambassador to Germany or Norway, since I speak a little
Oh,
bit of both languages.
okay. All right.
Yeah.
So all of this politics is right up your alley. This is your thing. This
Yeah.
is your wheelhouse. All
Hmm.
right. So, oh, you weren't on when we asked the first question, which is, did you see the debate and what was the biggest takeaway for you?
The most recent debate, the biggest takeaway was Trump was just digging himself into a deeper hole there. I mean, and he just seemed like completely uninformed on almost every issue there. Because if you notice, he has a habit of dodging the question. What me and my brother like to call trumping the question.
Ah,
That was yeah, me and my brother was calling it that long before Trump was president. But like he has a habit of dodging questions. It's either that or he just like, what's the word I'm looking for? He goes completely off topic. Like I'm not even sure what his point is. Like when he's supposedly answering a question.
so
Mhm.
here's what I've noticed about when 45 is answering a question. So he'll meander, and then at the end, all he has to do is say, "Make America great," and "I am protecting the border." That is this is really, he says, "I've got to protect the border and we want to make America great." And then he says that, and then his base just,
You know what?
I didn't think
That's a
there was
fair
a point
statement
there.
because he always jumps to immigration at nearly every question there. He's in the debate. Like there was not one question that was asked where he didn't jump to like to
immigration.
immigration. If there
Mhm.
was one there, I probably missed that because I missed the first 5 minutes of it because it started while I was driving.
Okay.
But if it but I do not remember one moment, one answer that did not involve immigration coming from Trump, from King Donnie, as I like to call him.
That is
Duh.
absolutely his go-to response is,
Hmm.
you know, uh, "Make America great." Say that somewhere in there. He's protecting the borders. They're causing crime. They're with no empirical evidence whatsoever. But yeah,
Let me ask,
that was my takeaway
Hmm.
from the
let me
debate.
ask this. Who isn't it great for him to say that the border is falling apart? Did he not have a hand in influencing his GOP members who are in Congress
To
to
kill that
not
bill.
pass
Yep.
a bill that will help secure our borders and give more support to our brave women and men who are out doing their work every day, risking their lives to protect our borders? Is that not true? Am I missing something?
No, you're not. And that was brought up. Vice President Harris brought that up during the debate, that he killed a bill that was a bipartisan bill. And Democrats and Republicans, worked together a long time to get this bill together. And
Mm-hmm.
he killed it. So the Republicans had in there what they wanted, because the Democrats and the Republicans worked it out. So they had in there what they wanted. They killed their own bill because he said so. So
Yeah,
after
sorry.
go ahead.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, from what I understand, the reason from like this is just my theory, but
Hmm.
this is also what I've heard from others. It's like the reason he wants them to kill that bill is because they want to wait for him to hopefully get reelected,
Mm.
and then like he can take credit for doing that. He
Yeah.
basically doesn't want like President Biden to take credit for that. That's just my theory. That's what I've heard
Oh no,
from like.
that's been said. That has been said, that he did
Mm.
not want the Democrats to be able to run on having gotten a border bill. Isn't that crazy?
Crazy.
Isn't that crazy? So
we're going to make America suffer, and men and women who are trying to find refuge and help and safety and all because of self. I'm sorry. I thought it was the Constitution we were protecting. We the people. I'm sorry. Is it just me? Am I reading something wrong? What you think, Kiara?
Honestly, you're not wrong. Because it's just, I feel like there are more better things to worry about than him more focusing on like immigration, especially since that was like his entire base of
they're eating cats and dogs and
I'm sorry, I shouldn't laugh at that. But
I grew up in South Florida, and so in the early 80s, there was a wave of Haitians who came to South Florida and also to New Jersey, but came to South Florida because they were fleeing persecution. And the Haitians who were coming over, they were already, dealing with violence and being terrorized in their own country, and they are a proud people. And so here we are 40 years later, that they're still dealing with the newer Haitians who are coming in are still dealing with all of these stereotypes about them. And to my Haitian folks, Mamboulés, that's probably all I remember. But to our Haitian brothers and sisters, please know that not all of America sucks. And I love my Haitian brothers and sisters, and I understand the reason, and and for those of us who understand history, we know why Haiti is in the shape that it is in. They're making Haiti. Did y'all know this? That when Haiti got their liberation from, they weren't handed their liberation. They fought for their liberation from France. They had to pay. They've been having to pay reparations to Haiti since I forgot what year they got their independence. But ever since they got their independence, they've been having to pay reparations to France. For getting their independence. That is what has really bankrupted Haiti. And the United States will put up regimes that they favor. And so when Haitians get in a government that they are in support of, that they've duly elected, the United States several times has been involved in the coup and overthrow of that government. So understand that, the U.S. has had their hands in Haiti for well over a century. And it is time for France to say, okay, it is enough. It is enough. Let's allow this country to be able to operate, govern themselves, and let's stay out of their politics.
Facts.
But yeah, and a lot of people want to, I've seen comments in the last few weeks on social media where basically like, why can't they govern themselves? Why can't they, run their own country? Why do they have to run here? Well, when the U.S. is destabilizing a government and they've never had a chance to really be autonomous, how can you say pull yourself up by your own bootstraps when they haven't had the boots to do it?
Facts.
So yeah,
how can you play Monopoly when you don't get your fair share of money or your votes? Timothy, you was about to say something about Haiti?
I was just gonna say, I remember reading that they were paying reparations to France for the loss of their colonies. I remember reading that in the history book, and I was thinking, that's bizarre. They just have to pay to be independent. That is bizarre.
So Deborah asked, was there any corruption in the government, Baby Doc and Papa Doc? There was corruption. I'm not going to say that They have not had
Mm.
bad leaders. But I will also say that the U.S. has had a lot more involvement in their government operations than what we as regular citizens know about. But yes, there has been some corruption. But look also into who popped up Baby Doc and Papa Doc. That's all I'm saying is that, you know, Haiti has not been in this by themselves. There have been other countries, namely the US, that you know, when they did have duly elected presidents, the US destabilized the country. But that is a very good point. There had been corruption. And, you know, there was some corruption by the US. We never did get an accounting of all of that money that was raised for Haiti after the earthquake. That's been very quiet. That has been very
And we
quiet.
also have to go ahead, Kiera.
I was just gonna add that there's no such thing as like a pure government. Every government is like not perfect, of course, so there will be some sort of corruption.
Mm,
You're right. You're right.
mm.
And that's why it's so important. That's why democracy is fragile. We have to work every single day to try and make sure that we keep democracy not only in this nation, but across the globe. And working with international relationships and having the UN and making it to where all of these countries work together to keep peace, because it does spill over into your next country.
Yeah.
And that's why it's imperative to try to keep peace all around, because if we have alliances and it says, and as a veteran, and our country say we're going to stand side by side with our allies. So when everybody has to fight and overcome these corrupt countries who are creating impoverished communities, and that so much so people want to flee because they can't safely take care of their families and have to worry about their children being sex trafficked and whatever the case may be. So we do have to understand that there are so many countries that have a plague of corruption, and Haiti is one of them. But it also makes you wonder, why do those nations like ours allow this type of corruption in a predominantly Black country, but we go and help fight other countries and support them? So sometimes that's my thought, that's my personal thought. It bothers me when we run, and I'm a service member, we go to countries that don't look like me to help those countries. And we spend millions of dollars. It's just like with the whole Gaza and Israel, you know, I hear, and people, we on live, chime in. We would love to hear your comments. People have said to me that the United States furnished all of these weapons.
And they did.
Okay.
They did.
So we're doing things to other countries, but what about helping Haiti? I mean, look at Puerto Rico. I mean, and that's you still, heck, we can't even get New Orleans back right. Feel me?
So there has been economic relief provided to Haiti. But we have to look, where does it go? Like I was mentioning about all of the money that was raised after the earthquake, probably about, was that 2013, 2014, somewhere around there, when there was an earthquake in Haiti.
I think 2010.
2010, and killed all of those people. You know, and there was a lot of money raised because I know I donated. And then we find out that, you know, Haitians are still living on the street. Haitians whose homes were destroyed in that earthquake were still living outside. There was, you know, living in tents or makeshift, what they call lean-tos. So where did the money go? You know,
Where did it go?
millions upon millions of dollars was funneled through the Clinton Foundation, and folks still did not see progress in Haiti as far as infrastructure. So that's an issue, and and that really needs to be explored. But again, America has to have a self-interest in order for them to get involved. That's my opinion. That's my
I
opinion.
agree with you. I agree with you, and that's why they ain't going to Haiti. Now, I hate this. Well, I ain't gonna say that, but yeah, I agree with you. I definitely agree with you. If they don't have anything in return, again, this is why this forum is important. This is why we encourage each and every one of you, our listeners abroad and near, to have a forum amongst yourselves so you can determine what's best for your slice of the world, your community, how you can advocate for food deserts, poor schools, guns in schools, traffic, transportation rather, whatever it is. Because if we don't sit down and talk about it, the people who are in leadership will do things that has a self-interest. We are putting soldiers and women and men, brave men and women, in positions to fight for some special interest in for this country. And my question has always been why? Why are we doing this abroad when we have, I believe, you can fact check me, Queen, California, one of the largest homeless populations in our country. They're building tent cities, tiny home tents and all this stuff. Atlanta, the mayor of Atlanta, they're building a tiny home community. We're sending millions upon millions. Our debt ceiling is high. We're doing all of this stuff. And we have poverty right here. We have veterans who are homeless, who are addicted to drugs, who are committing suicide, attempting. This is Suicide Prevention Month, family. September is Suicide Prevention and Awareness Month. So check in on your loved ones. But we have a lot of things going on here in this country, and it infuriates me. So what I want from my presidential candidate is, what are you going to do at home? What are you going to do to take care of all of us here?
So I happen to think that America can chew gum and walk at the same time.
Facts.
I think we can protect our allies abroad, and we can take care of everyday Americans. We can take care of our troops. We can take care of veterans. I think we can take care of the folks who are living within these borders of the United States. I think we can do it all. I don't think it has to be one or the other. And that's my opinion. We have the resources. We can do it. It just has to be made a priority. So we can defend abroad. We can defend abroad because we have to defend our allies. So when we have a candidate that says that they want to be, America first, they want to protect America, and they're going to pull troops back from and not support our allies. We support our allies because our allies support us. So if someone is bombing U.S. property somewhere overseas outside of this country, we want our allies to be able to support us. We want to be able to have an Air Force base or an Army base overseas somewhere where we can deploy our troops, right? So we have to have those relationships with our allies. And that means that when NATO calls, we get in there too, and we have to help defend. So I think we can do that. And we can also fight poverty. We can fight homelessness, but it has to be a priority. And I can't say that either administration, any administration, has made poverty and homelessness or veterans a priority. There's a whole lot of lip service. Action, few. I'm stepping down off my soapbox.
What do you guys think?
I agree with her there. I don't know any president that has any administration at all that has ever made that a priority.
And that
Yeah.
part is sad because
Mhm.
we all know, hell, or either we know someone who's a paycheck away, or we ourselves are a paycheck away from losing housing, losing stability. And if we didn't get paid for one or two pay cycles, we wouldn't be able to pay rent, mortgage, car note, something. And if you can't pay your car note, you can't get to work. So we all have lived at one point in time in a precarious situation where, but for the grace of God, it could have been us that was out there on the street whose stuff is sitting out on the lawn and people are picking through your belongings. So with that, we have to have, it concerns us all. And for anyone to think that poverty and homelessness does not have an impact on them because they have, I'm telling you, as an attorney, I used to do bankruptcies. And I had clients who had six-figure businesses, and business went down to where, like, one of my clients years ago was a builder, and he had done six figures. He had a second home, they vacationed, they had a boat, they had an RV, all of that. He got down to where he was doing handyman work for like $1,000, $1,500 making a month, doing that in a month, and was glad to take that when he could. But he had to file bankruptcy because he still had the lifestyle of someone who was making six figures. He still had the two mortgages, he still had the cars, so he had, all of that stuff had to go. And he was so ashamed to come and see me to have to file for bankruptcy. And I was like, I was like, look, this is what the bankruptcy laws are here for, to help you get a fresh start. So you don't have to be shamed. I am not here to shame you. I am here to help you so that you can rebuild. And and so what I would say to people when they come to me, and I was like, the laws were written to assist you. And this just shows you that anyone can go through this. So never think that, that could not be me, because it very well could be you.
And every given time, we all a paycheck. We are all an episode or incident away from having a major
Your life
catastrophe
turned
happen.
upside down.
Yeah. And shoot, it can just be like you said, what that happened to them, or you lose your job, or you can go through anything or whatever. But I want to know that I live in a country that has resources and support for the haves and the have-nots. That everybody and their fair share, that small businesses and nonprofits get funding and support that they need, that they can stay in business. You hear we're going to help the middle class, which, I've only heard one candidate speak to that. And I want to make sure that I continue to advocate so that when people get into office, we don't let them forget what their promises are. And let's do government 101. They can't just come in office and shake out the curtain. I mean, the sheets, and everything gonna be fine. So let's not fool ourselves thinking that when hopefully my candidate wins, that they're going to be able to come in and just shake everything up.
No.
They still have to have the Senate and the House.
Yep.
They still have to have. So that's why it's important not only to just focus on the presidential race,
vote the entire ballot.
That's what I keep telling people. Like, I remember giving a presentation, this was just yesterday. I was giving a presentation on like different countries' elections and how they're a bit more representative than the US can be. I kept telling people, like, just like the presidential elections and the governor elections, those aren't those are important. Yes, they are, but But like, believe it or not, local elections, like for representative and for Senate, those are just as important, if not probably more important than the presidential and the gubernatorial elections, because they are your voice to the government. In fact, some political candidates who are like for representative, they'll come knocking on your door, and they won't just ask you, "Can I get your support?" They'll also ask, like, "Are there any like political issues that are of great concern to you?" They're they're supposed to
Yes.
be. That's the point of it. They're supposed to be your voice to the government. They're supposed to voice your concerns to the government and write laws, like write some bills that could become laws, like based on your concerns.
Yes. And for some
Right.
reason, our Facebook
So
messages are not, they're not showing up in the feed over here on
yeah, because
StreamYard.
I'm looking at the IG
Yeah.
messages too, and I'm like, nothing's popping up. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
it's not, I don't know why, but we have a message from Kim Scott that says free health care would help many people. My generation is facing bankruptcies because of cancer medical treatments. You are not lying, Kim. And I have seen personally, I have seen people have to file bankruptcy because of medical debt. One car accident away, one major illness away. My husband recently this year was diagnosed with prostate cancer, and thank God we had insurance because his treatments were in the close to six figures. Insurance covered, we had a very low copay, thank God. But if it had not been for health insurance, we wouldn't have been able to afford his treatments because he had to have radiation treatment. So and there are folks who don't have health insurance, or they have don't have adequate enough coverage. So that is, while we do have the Affordable Health Care Act, it's a starting point. It's not universal health care. And so I would like to see Congress and the next president, hopefully the current vice president, work on getting actual universal health care like Mexico and like some other countries. Not Mexico, but like Canada, where folks are covered from cradle to the grave, you know. But yes, that is very important. Kat, what are some of the comments you're seeing on IG?
Your mic is muted.
Yourself.
I try to keep my background noise to a minimum because I'm back here trying to talk to folks. I'm waiting to see if people pop in, so I just went out there to see. So I'm glad you watching Facebook. We got YouTube,
Yes.
we got IG. So everybody chime in. This is a community forum. We want to,
So
by
these
all
comments must
means,
have been
plug
from these
in
comments
and
must
let's
have been
hear
from
your comments as to how you're feeling about the president.
Okay. So the comments that we're getting in the feed must be from
Negative.
What?
Yeah, that's YouTube. So you're
That's why I said
monitoring
YouTube.
Facebook.
Yeah. So the
Yeah,
comments
and I'm
that we're
monitoring
getting
IG and then YouTube.
Yeah.
So yeah, and so I was just saying that people, please chime in. We would love to hear your comments on all of our platforms. Please let us know because this is a forum that we want to hear from you. Thank you for all of our viewers. We appreciate you watching and staying with us. I see the number of people attending is great. Thank you for Kiera. Thank you for Timothy for joining us. So you guys are representing the Gen Z and the Millennials. Hey,
Yeah, we appreciate you.
because y'all voices matter. Y'all are the ones that's making this election, and we need you. So from both of you, I'll ask this question of both of you. And Timothy, you can go first. What advice do you give your generation to get out here and vote? Why should they vote? Why is it important?
Well, first off, I want to say one thing. A lot of young people say that they're apolitical. This is not the year to be apolitical.
No, sir.
Your rights, especially women's rights, are on the line in this election, especially with Project 2025 and all these states passing abortion bans that have actually led to the death of young women. That's this is not the year to be apolitical. Today it's like what, 6 weeks in Georgia. What if tomorrow? What will it be then? Will it be a complete abortion ban, just as it was in fascist Italy under Mussolini? That, yeah, imagine how many people that could have. Imagine how many mothers that could have killed there.
Yes.
And another thing is, like, what's the other thing I was gonna say? Oh yeah, just get out and vote. Pay attention to local elections, Stu. I know they did not. I know they didn't teach you about it much in like elementary school, middle school, and high school. I know they only talked about the presidential and the governor elections. Those are important, yes, but the Senate and the House of Representatives, both the state and the federal level, those are just as important. They're supposed to be your voice to the government.
Yes.
The point of having a congressman or congresswoman is so that you can contact them saying, "Hey, I have this concern here. There should be a law saying that school buses should stop at a railroad." You're right, there ought to be a law. They type that out and then they introduce it to Congress, and then it becomes a bill, goes to the House of Representatives, goes to the Senate, then the president decides on that. But you need a majority in the Senate and in the House to, like, if you want that law to be passed.
Yes. Yes. And so for those of you who are not registered to vote in Georgia, go to mvp.sos.ga.gov. And if you are watching this outside of Georgia and you live in a different state, then go to your Secretary of State's website. And you can Google it, Secretary of State, put in the name of your state, and then you go to the elections page, and there you will be able to register. You should be able to register online. And if you can't register online, there are, if you know anyone who's in the Divine Nine or any churches and organizations, they are also registering folks to vote right now. We have a comment from Deborah Chapman. Was Project 2025 written by the Heritage Foundation? Did Donald Trump say he endorsed it? So Project 2025 was written by the Heritage, so it was sponsored by the Heritage Foundation, and there were multiple people who had been involved in Trump's first campaign and in his White House, who helped write and author. And J.D. Vance, I think, did the foreword for Project 2025, if I'm not mistaken. So Donald Trump is now saying that he doesn't endorse Project 2025. He doesn't know anything about it, but his VP was involved. Several key members of his cabinet and his administration were part of writing Project 2025.
Yes.
So, and there is a video that was leaked of two of the authors of Project 2025 who were saying, "Oh, don't worry about Trump. He's going to say that he doesn't support it, but he supports it." So what this is it's a blueprint for his second administration. And they've said as much. And these were key people in his administration. So, go look at the names. Go look it up. Don't just take my word. Go look at the people who authored Project 2025 and then Google their names and see their affiliation. So all I'm going to say is where there's smoke, there's fire. So if there are all of these folks who were involved with his administration who wrote this policy, and this is a policy document, if they wrote this policy document and they're involved with his campaign, I'm going to let you infer what you will. What say anyone else?
You can go to ACLU and the American Civil Liberties Union and .org and check them out, see what they have about the Project 2025. I would encourage you to dig deep out on the internet and find independent companies, independent organizations that don't go Democrat, Republic, or anything. They're just truly about the American people. Go to those organizations, nonpartisan, and just look and see what facts they have uncovered for you and do more research on it because like my sister said, you know, if you sit down and read it, like I would encourage you to go find it and just read it for yourself. A lot of times we get so many avenues or streams of information, but sometimes it just boils down to us actually finding the document, an authentic document, and reading it for ourselves. And then you will see and make up your mind from there how you actually feel about it. And any person who's seeking to earn your vote, if they support it or not, what decision you will make beyond that. So I'm definitely not for the 2025 projects that was, you know, orchestrated with the think tank that you mentioned, the foundation. I can't think of the name of the foundation,
Heritage
but it was
Foundation.
a think tank. And so, but when you sit down and you're able to read some of these pages for yourself, then I know for me, it's like, what? Yeah, nah, I'm good.
So I have to say that the actual document itself is voluminous. So there are some nonprofits who have done summaries, not nonprofits, but nonpartisan organizations who've done summaries of Project 2025. And so what I will do after we get off the air is I will post links to those summaries where you can go and check it out yourself and read the summaries, because the actual document itself is large. It's quite large. So the summaries would give you a very good synopsis of what's in the policy document itself. And Kiera, we started talking all around you, but we didn't get from you, like, what is your why and your motivation for this election?
So for starters, I'm voting because there are people in the US that won't be able to vote for any other reason. So I'm voting for them, for people who aren't able to vote. And then also just the fact that there are some people who aren't researching and just saying that they're not represented in the government at all. So I see no point in voting. When the reason of voting is so you can be heard, and also just like knowing who you're voting for as well. Researching, it's mostly people from my generation that are saying this, but just knowing how like our government works and how we are able to get our voice out there to begin with.
Okay.
Amen.
And
That's
so
right.
last comment here, Deborah Chapman says, when she checked Trump's website, it has Agenda 47. And so, yes, that it does have Agenda 47. It does not say Project 2025, but there are some similarities. And again, I think it was NPR that did a comparison of the two. And I will post that when we get off. I will post that on our Facebook page. If you have not already, make sure you subscribe to Conversations with Karen and Kat. We are on YouTube, and we have a Facebook group as well. We're on IG. You can message us. And if you still have these questions, we will be very happy to dialogue with you about your questions that have been raised today. So I
have one question.
Go ahead.
I have one question. Did y'all not see my lipstick messed up and ain't nobody gonna say nothing?
Ma'am.
I'm just playing.
I'm sorry. I didn't even notice that, actually. I'm sorry.
I'm sitting here like, is my lipstick messed up? And I got my crew right here. Nobody said nothing.
Nobody was checking, and nobody could see. I couldn't see your lipstick.
Sorry.
I can't see your lipstick.
You don't get a car. You don't get a car. You don't get a car.
I did not see your lipstick at all.
Thank you so much for everybody's comments. This is what we want. We plan on hosting another forum as well. And we want to make sure we get as many people involved so your voice can be heard. These are awesome questions. Project 2025, the Agenda 47, the having affordable housing or free, not housing, free healthcare for individuals. And just totally love all these questions that have been coming through and everybody that's joining us. But we definitely need to continue to have this conversation because, like Brother said, this ain't the time to be apolitical. Okay?
That's right.
This is not the time to.
This is not the time to have those signs at the entrance of neighborhoods saying no soliciting, or like, this is not the time to be kicking out political canvassers. Listen to what they have to say. These local elections are important. I'm not saying you shouldn't have that. Well, I guess I did there, but like, yes, you can have those signs set at the front of neighborhoods, but at least let the political canvassers in. Those, because like politics are important. You may not care, but other people may.
And let me just say, politics.
Go ahead,
politics
Queen. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Every aspect of your life, down from how much the millage rate is going to be in your city, your county, to your property taxes. I mean, it impacts every aspect of your life. Your sales tax on a city level, on a county level, on a state level, all of that is political. It's politics. And so if you don't have a seat at the table, you're being served on the menu.
Facts.
So you need to get engaged, not just at a federal and a state level, but at a local, county, and municipal level. Show up for your municipal races, because who you're voting for your mayor, for your county administrator, your county commissioners, impacts your life on a daily basis. Because in Georgia, your county and your judges, vote for your judges, please. Because who your county commissioners are and who your county leadership is will impact you on much more on a daily basis than who's at the federal level. So, Kat and I always say that, think globally, act locally. That means start at home.
That's right.
Start at home.
And one thing to keep in mind is like you're a county commissioner, you're your city councilman, your district representative. They are a lot closer to you than the president or the governor of your state is. So, or at least that's most likely going to be the case. So you've really got to focus pay just as much attention to those elections than you do to the governor or the president elections.
Absolutely. And I want to invite everyone to join us for the vice presidential debate, which is going to be on Tuesday, October 1st at 9 p.m. So we will be creating a live event on YouTube, Facebook, and IG. And so what we're doing is, while that's going on, we'll have it streaming, and we'll also be live, like talking, chatting live. So we did it for the presidential debate, and we had a great time.
We had so much fun.
We really did. So again, that is Tuesday, October 1st at 9 p.m. We'll probably tune in a little bit before that. Grab your popcorn, get your snacks. We got to think of a drinking game. Not doing shots. We don't want nobody to do shots.
I remember this one time someone told me to take a shot every time Trump lied. I immediately said no to that. I would have been in the hospital if I did that.
Didn't they say he lied 33 times?
Yes.
This was like during Biden's debate, but either way, I would not. I'm not going to take my chances there. I'd be in the hospital with either debate if I did that.
Drunkard. You'd be a drunkard, sir. You'd be a drunkard.
Well, we're only going to take shots of water around here. Take shots of water.
Absolutely. But with that, we want to thank Timothy and Kiera for joining us. and thank our viewers who took the time to join us live for this exciting conversation. We love the lives.
Yeah.
But thank you for joining us on this episode of Conversations with Karen and Kat.
Well, we are impacting the world one conversation at a time.